Good evening, all. Am I audible? And I have shared my screen. Kindly acknowledge if my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, people. So in today's session, we'll be discussing about the functions. Do you have any idea like what is the function? What is function? Yes. All right. I'll tell you then, people. So generally, function in the sense of let's say if we have to do any set of function, so for that purpose, let's say I have to do that particular function again and again in a program. So instead of writing the same code again and again, we can just give that specific task in one function, and we can just call that function whenever required. So that is the purpose of function. Okay, it's a block of code which is used to perform some set of task. Okay, so here the function usage are reusability, modularity, readability, and maintainability. In general, what is meant by reusability?
Same code in multiple contexts.
Yes.
Like if we have some repeating code, we can give a name.
Mhm. Yes. Okay, which means let's say we can just reuse it again and again. So whenever required, without repetition, we can just use it multiple times. Like we can call that function. Modularity in the sense of instead of writing a complex like a bigger program, we can just write it into a smaller subdivision and we can just use it. Okay, it's by this way we can be able to break down into the smaller subgroups. And readability in the sense of organizing the code in a better way and it gives some clarity as well. And next is of maintainability, which means let's say if there is any issues there, we can be able to like we'll easily identify where the error is and we can be able to debug that. Okay, instead of checking the whole part, we can just check only that code block and we can be able to rectify it. Okay, so these are the functions, like these are the advantages of using the functions. So functions is of two types. One is predefined and the next is of user defined function. So predefined in the sense of which already has some meaning, which is similar to the like it has some previous meaning, like similar to keywords. So keyword has some meaning. So it's similarly here predefined in the sense of it's already defined. If I use some header files, I can be able to use that function. Okay. So the examples are like printf function, scanf, mlock, free of method. Is there any other methods? Yes, any other predefined functions which you know?
Ma'am, there are various predefined functions.
Yes, what are they? I'm asking.
Uh, there are also, ma'am, for loop, while, and some of them are also predefined.
Huh? Okay.
like double float.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, like typecasting can be done.
Predefined
Yes,
keyword.
then.
Yes, ma'am.
No, it's not keyword, right? Like, what are the methods that, I mean, what are the functions actually? Okay. Have you ever used that math functions like square root of, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is
Yes, ma'am.
right?
Ma'am, this is a header file, na?
No, no. In math header file, you can use the math function like
Okay, okay.
square root
Power
of
function
function.
and something like that. This, ma'am.
Yes, power of function, square root of function. So these are the specific functions.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Is that clear, people?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yes.
Huh. So
Yes,
that is
ma'am.
also
Clear.
some of the predefined functions. See, sine of, cos of, that comes under the math.h. Okay, so here these are no need to give some explicit declaration. We can just straight away use it. Okay, similar with this also, but here also the same thing. If it is of math.h, then we can use sine and cos. If you include stdio, you can be able to use this printf scanf methods. Okay, and user defined function in the sense of which whatever the programs that we are creating for our use. Okay, let's say I have to use some add function. I know that in a program I'm just using the add function again and again with different values in different places. So instead of adding it again and again, I can just use the function and I can call the function there. Okay, so that for that purpose, for that as you can use these user defined function. So there is a way to declare it as well. Okay, like the syntax is there, how to write the function and all. Okay, so if it is a user defined function, there is a 4 types. Okay, I'll just write that as well here. Okay, so first is like with written. I hope my writings are visible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Visible.
okay, with written and with parameter, and next is with written without parameter, and next is without written with
With
parameter.
parameter.
Yeah, with parameter, and next is like without written without parameter.
Without parameter.
So these are the 4 types of user defined functions over there. Okay, so I'll tell you people what is this written type and all. So generally, what are the data types you'll use?
Int, float, double.
Um, in float,
Yes,
double,
int,
char,
float, double.
Yeah, ma'am. Float, double.
Yes, char, and these are the data types, as well as you can use void also. So these are said to be the written types. Okay, so main method you might have seen, right, like void main of, है ना? Or else you might have seen that as int main of, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
so these things are like written type. Int is a data type, and this void is also a written type. So these are these can be used as a return types. Okay, and next is parameters. So parameters in the sense of like during function declaration, we'll give some values, right? Like a, b, something like that. So that is said to be the parameters. So if I have to write any function, first has to be the return type. Either it has to be a void or int, whatever it can be. There has to be return type. Followed by that, it has to be a function name and then parameters. And based on the return type, we have to give the return at last. Is this thing clear, people?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if you want to make a note of this, you can just note down the syntax of this function. Yes, everyone noted.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the function name has to be like as usual. Like if I'm giving some name, it has to be like related to that program. If I'm doing some addition, I can just give it as add of method to maintain the like let's say it's not like when you're writing a code, it will not be accessible only by you, right? You'll just code it along with your peer people, right? So if you are giving any names, it has to be a valid name which has to be related to that, so that it will be easily understandable. Okay, and next is of parameters. So parameters can be 1, 2, 3. It can be many also based on the requirement. And then yeah, function body and then the return statements. Okay, so now I'll tell you what is the difference between an argument and the functions. So before that, I'll tell you how these parameter and all works. So let me use some online GDB here. Okay, I hope my screen is visible, right, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's
Yes,
say
ma'am, visible.
okay, people. Let's say I'm trying to write the method function here. So first has to be the function definition part. That is, I have to give it some return type. Let's say I'm trying to add two values. So int add of. Okay, I have to give two parameters for adding, isn't it? So int a comma b. Okay, so now let's say I just want to give the declaration part, not the definition one. And I'm giving this semicolon here. After that, in the main method, I can call this add of method in such a way that I'm giving 5 and 98. So it will return some value. So here, what is the return type?
Int.
Yes, which means I have to store that value in the main method. I mean, like from wherever we are calling, we have to store it, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Otherwise, what will happen? The value will not be stored. So here I'm giving int c is equal to add of 5 comma 98. This 5 and 98 is said to be the arguments. Okay, whichever we are passing in the like whenever we are calling a function, we are giving some values, right? That is said to be the arguments. And here we have given two values, right? A and B. So these are the parameters. Is this thing clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
next is, okay. So this function definition has to be, like function declaration has to be before main. But function definition can be before main or after main also. But there should be this one. Okay, let's say now I'm thinking that I can just give the definition here itself. So what I need to do, I have to return A plus B. That's it. So now I am trying to print this C value. So print of quotation percentile D plus percentile D equal to percentile D. I'm passing A, B, and C values. Okay, so I need to give these two values, right? Let's say this is B, X, and Y. And here I'm giving us X, Y values. Which means I have to declare it initially. X is equal to 5 and Y is equal to 98. Here then X and Y are the arguments. If I run this code, what will happen? Okay, oops, my
I used a semicolon error. Yes, ma'am.
yeah. So actually what will happen in this case? Initially, this X value, that is 5 and 98, are passed as arguments. Then it will be moving to this method, and I mean this function. In this function, we have to return the A plus B value, which means 5 plus 98 added value. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, it's week 5. What happened? Last week we have discussed week 4. This control flow, loops and all. Do you remember that?
Yeah, ma'am. Before done.
Oh yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Week 4 is already done in previous lectures.
Uh, okay, you can check the YouTube links also, Shari. Okay, so now moving to this. Okay, so this is what is parameters and arguments. Let's say instead of passing the parameters, here what this comes under the type of with written, because I have given some written value. So with written and with parameter. Okay, so this comes under that type. So similarly, let me give you one more example for with written and without parameters. Okay, let me take the same example as add method. So I'm giving us int add of. So inside which we let's say I'm giving us int a is equal to 6 and b is equal to 7, and here I'm returning the value as a plus. So this a and b, which is accessible only within this block. Will I be able to access this a and b outside this block?
No, ma'am. It will not.
No, ma'am.
So do you all know what is local scope and global scope?
No, ma'am.
Not yet.
Okay. So A and B I'm giving it, right? So this is said to be a local scope because its scope is only within this method. I mean within this function. Will I be able to access this A and B out?
No.
Exactly, we cannot access it. So it is said to be a local. Global in the sense of it's the variable or the method which accessible throughout the program. So within that program, wherever I can be able to call that variable. If that is the case, then we'll say it as a global. Or else it is said to be a local scope. Is that thing clear, people?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
How about this X and Y? Is it global or local?
global.
Why it is global? Can I be able to access it in this add-off method then?
Ma'am, X and Y are not globally.
Why it is not global?
Ma'am,
Because
because
declared only int main functions. So it is a valid only for that.
This X and Y can be accessible only within this main. After the, I mean, in add of method or any other functions, I cannot be able to access it. Is
Yes, ma'am.
that thing clear?
Yes, ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, we cannot be able to access it outside the function. If it is accessible outside the function also, then only it is said to be a global. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
great.
Ma'am, can you tell me any scenario where we can understand that these type of variables are global?
Yeah, wait. I'm just giving us int x is equal to 9, and here I'm giving plus x. Okay, and here it should not be a parameters, right? Okay, so here let me give us percentile d of x, and let me give a backslash n, that is for new line, and then next printf. Let it be along with this. Let me give us printf quotation percentile d backslash n comma x value printed along, and then printf quotation percentile d comma this add of method is called here. Can you see here? I have given x is equal to 9. So I can be able to print it in the main method, as well as I can be able to access it in the add of method, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is what we say as a global. So imagine that I haven't given like this, and instead I'm giving like this. Now, will this program work without error?
Ma'am, it gives no, ma'am. It does not
Why
give.
not?
Yes, ma'am. It gives error
And it gives error.
because we cannot define a x variable in int add function.
Yes, actually this exists only within this main function, but I'm
Int
trying to use it
main
with the
function.
add of function. Can you see the error here? It shows that x is undeclared.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Can I able to understand now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is
Yes,
what we
ma'am.
refer to global and local. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Great.
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Yeah, okay, people. So now let me comment these lines. Huh. Okay, now I just need to remove this x. Okay, now tell me what will be the output of this code.
Ma'am, please repeat.
Ma'am, voice is breaking
Yes, what will be
because
the
of
output of
network
this?
issue.
Am I audible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Your voice
Yes,
is
ma'am.
breaking.
All right, people. If you are like, if you feel that my voice is breaking, please stop me here so that I can check my network connection as well. Okay, so now tell me more. What will be the output of this code?
13, ma'am.
Yes.
Answer will be 13.
No, ma'am, it's an error, I think, because
Why it is an error?
in the function, in the second function, we don't declare the integers.
In second function, what we didn't do?
In main function, we directly calling add function without declaring something. I mean, you commented out int x is equals to 5 or y is equals to 98.
But actually, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to add two elements, right? But that is done like inside this add function. I have just added two values and it is returning it, right? Actually, it will give you the correct answer as 13.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. It will give
Not show
correct answer.
because can you see here in add of function what I'm doing is a is equal to 6 and b is equal to 7. So this is an example of with written and without parameter. Here it is returning, but I haven't passed any parameters to it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
All right, great people. So next we'll go ahead with the next type. That is, I'll just comment it out first. So next is without return type and with parameter. Okay, what can be the what can be that function? Do you want to give it a try?
No,
Let's
ma'am.
take the same example as add.
It gives error.
No, there is a possibility. Do you want to give it a try? Without written in which parameter, what method?
Without return. It means void type, ma'am.
Exactly. We have to give void as return type. Then add method. Okay, do I have to pass parameters here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
We have to pass the parameters.
Yes, let's say here I'm giving two parameters as int a comma int b. Okay, so now I'm just giving us int c is equal to a plus b, and I'm giving us return. And the value will be added. Am I just displaying or using for some other purpose? No, but it has to be done, right? So I'm giving some print statement to do to check whether the process is working fine or not. Okay, so here we have to give it as the thing is int x is equal to, let me give it as 5, sorry 6, and y is equal to 7, and we just need to give add of x comma y. That's it. Now if I give also, I'll get the answer as 13. Did you get an idea, people?
Yes,
Here
ma'am.
I should not use a print statement or any value to be stored. I should not use any variable to store that as well, because this is its return type is void. It returns nothing. You can add this statement, or without this statement also it will work. Okay, that is just to stop that. Can you see the difference? With this also it will work, without that also it will work. But if you want to stop that function somewhere in the sense of, you can use return method. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's say I'm thinking that it's in some cases we no need to return that value. We just want to compute it and we have to store it. If that is the case, you can use this void as return type. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, people. So next is next let's take an example for without Do you want to give it a try for the next type, that is without return and without parameter one? Do you want to give it a try, people?
Yes, ma'am. Void,
Okay, void.
and we give us some other name that is uh, something, ma'am. Subtract. Yes, ma'am. Add. We can also use add.
Okay.
And after that, we cannot use a parameters. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then we can declare inside it a variable something that is x is equal to 5
Mm.
and y is equal to 10
Okay.
and print
Mm.
percentile d and x plus y.
Yes. So now I have to give a method call, that I mean function call, that is add of method. That's it. Okay. So let me execute it now. And you see it's 5 plus 10. I'm getting the output as 50. So this is an example of without return and without parameter. Is these things clear, people?
Can you explain it one more?
Yes.
Can you explain the without parameter again?
Okay, I'll just share this one with you in chat box now. Okay, so the last one is like without parameter. I'm not giving any parameters next to, I mean, within the add of function, and I'm not giving any return type also. I'm just giving the void as return type. So inside which I'm doing all the process, and I'm like, let's say if I want to print or something, that is also done within the add of method. Is it clear? So here in the main method or wherever the function to be called, I just have to call it. That's it. No print statement, or I should not store it, and no parameter is also to be given. So this is
Okay.
the last time. Okay. Is this thing clear, people, to everyone, or you want some time to go through this?
Clear, ma'am, clear.
Okay, great. So it is not that you have to give only before this main method. Actually, what you can do is, if you are thinking that you can just give it like this later also, but there should be a declaration. Okay, so I'm just copying it, and this is to be deleted. And then after main method also, you can just give this definition part. If you are giving function definition later, the function declaration should be there in the starting. Okay, function declaration has to be in the starting, then you can give this. Now also it will work. Let me just execute it. Can you see I'm getting the answer as 15? Imagine that I'm not giving this line statement. Then if I execute, can you see the difference, people? What is the error I'm getting?
Yes, ma'am, implicit declaration.
It gives an error in declaring it.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
if you are thinking that you can give the implementation part later, you should give a declaration at least. Then you can give the definition part later as well. So this is the function definition part. Okay, so function declaration should be there in the starting at least, and function definition you can just give it later as well. Okay, is it clear, people?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, so now let me just reset it. Okay. So now, in functions itself, there is of two ways of calling the functions. I mean, like two ways of giving the values to it. One is call by value. So call by value in the sense of previously we have discussed, right? Let's say I'm giving the add method here, that is int add of. Sorry, which has to be given outside the main method, right? Yeah. So here I'm giving us int add of, and I'm passing the values like int a comma int b, and I'm giving us return the a plus b value. So what I'm trying to do here is add of. Here also I can give it as a comma b also. And before that I have to give a is equal to some 10, and I'm giving us in b is equal to some 7. So this value to be stored, so I'm giving us in c is equal to a comma b, and then I'm thinking that I have to print this statement. So printf quotation percentage g comma c value. Okay, so by this way we can be able to add it. So this is said to be the call by value. So I know the value I'm giving as 5, 10 and 7, and I'm using some parameters to pass it, and I'm adding it. Okay, so this is one type, that is call by value. Next is call by reference. So call by reference in the sense of we are giving the address instead of the value. Okay, so address in the sense of how will you pass an address? Any idea?
By using pointers.
Yes, pointer is to store the address. How will you pass the address?
Ampersand, ma'am.
Excellent. It's of ampersand. By using ampersand, I can be able to pass this values. So here I can make use of the pointers like star A and star B. And instead of adding it, let's say I have to increment the value. So star A is equal to star A plus 7. Or let me give value as 9. Similarly, star B is equal to star B plus, I'm giving some 10, let's say. And then here I'm just returning the value as only star A plus star B value. Or let me give it as in C is equal to star A plus star B value. And then we let the C return it. Now I want to check whether the A and B values are changed or not. So I can give it as int percentile D. Let me give A values. Okay, and let me give the A value here. Similarly, print the quotation B value is percentile D comma B. Yeah, let me add a new lines. So before updation also, let me give a print statements here. Can you see the difference now, people? What is the A value initially? Initially, I have given as 10 and B value is 7. But in the function, what I'm trying to do, so that's why here when I'm printing the A value before updation, it's 10 and 7. So after that, in this function, what are we trying to do? A value is added with 9, which means 10 plus 9, it becomes 19. So with 7, I'm adding 10, that becomes 17. So this updated value only, I'm adding it to C. So you can do one more thing also, that is, you can just pass C also, and in C, you can just update the value and you can do this process as well. Is this thing clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Or people, do you want some time to understand what is happening inside? Do you want 2 minutes to understand? Yeah, please do respond more.
Yes.
Ma'am, please show full code.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Which means I'm trying to use that value. So that is said to be a pointer. Okay. So here I'm using the ampersand A. That is, I'm giving the address of A. So in the address, whatever the A value was, that has to be taken, added 9, and that has to be stored. So that's why I'm using that star. It is to take whatever the element in that address. So ampersand is for address and star is for taking whatever the value in that address.
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Okay, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am, got it.
All right. So Prince there returned some modified. Yeah, yes, Sharia. This allows to modify the actual value of A. Huh. Okay, so that's why here I have tried printing the A value, which is the original value, and this A and B are the updated values. Because using ampersand and just giving the address of it, in the address, whatever the value, that gets updated. So hereafter, whenever I'm just taking the A value, it will just tell me the updated value, not the previous values. Okay, clear to everyone? So that is the call by value and call by reference. So the actual value of the variable is passed and we are just doing with the values. But here in call by value, the value will not be changed at all. If I'm doing some process, the value never gets changed. In that instance only it will do. But call by reference, it will just affect that value. Okay, the original value gets changed. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So next is recursion. Do you have any idea like what is recursion? At least a rough idea.
Calling a function many times.
Ma'am, ma'am,
Hmm?
anything that can be done by iteration will be done with the recursion.
Function call itself.
Yes. It's not that we can just call the function many times. Inside the function, we'll just try to call that function again and again. So that is said to be a recursion. So in case of recursion, we need to have a base case. So that is to terminate it. So I'll just. Okay, I hope now my screen is visible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So there. Okay, people. So next is recursion. Yeah, let me give here is. Okay, so let's say initially I just want to write a factorial program. Ignore all these things. Now I have to write the factorial program. So what is factorial at first? Yes, what is factorial?
Multiples
Factorial
of
means
previous.
yes, ma'am. Suppose we have to find the factorial of 5. How will we, which is equal to 2 into 3 into 4 into 1.
Yes. So it is nothing but multiplying the number from 1 to n. So 1 also included, n also is included. So that is said to be the factorial of that number. What is 1 factorial?
1.
1.
Okay. What is 0 factorial?
1.
1.
1.
So it's 1. Okay, if I want to find 2 factorial, then I have to give it as 1 into 2, nothing but 2 value.
2.
So similarly, let's say if I want to find the 3 factorial, then I have to do 1
Yeah,
into 2.
3 into 2 into 1.
Yes, 1 into
3.
3 or 3 into 2 into 1, whatever it is. Okay, let me give as well. It has to be 3 into 2 into 1, which is nothing but 6. So it goes on. Like whatever the number I have to find as a factorial. So for n factorial, I have to do multiplication from n into n minus 1 into
N2 plus 1
uh,
and minus 2
yes.
till
So it
1.
has to keep going till it's reaching the
1.
value as 1. Okay, so this is how we'll find the n factorial. Okay, so in case of iteration, how will you do? Could you all please
Using
give it a try? Yeah, it's using the loop. Either for loop or while loop. Which loop has to be used?
For loop.
For loop.
Yes. Why it's for loop? Because we are sure that how many times the loop is gonna work. Okay, so that's why we have to use a for loop here. It's preferable to use. Could you all please try writing the code for this now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll just give you 3 minutes of time, people. Try writing the code. And once you're done with the code, you can just send it in chat box. Shari, I have asked you all to write factorial program using looping. Syed, what is the value of n? It's not it's not initialized. So please initialize the n value. Other than that, it's good. Yes, good Satya Prakash. Okay, you have given n to 2 and you're subtracting it. Yeah, this is also fine. It's good. Others, have you all completed more? Please do respond. Why are you using float for that? If you want to store the larger value, then you have to use long, right? If it is float, then how is it possible to use percentile D? If it is float, you have to use percentile F, right? Okay, here you have used it, fine. And here you have mentioned 1, 2. Okay, change it to long. Okay, if you want to store the larger values, it will be long, not float. Float
Okay,
is
ma'am.
the
Long
decimal.
double.
No. Double is to store the decimal values, similar with float, similar to float, with point precision. If you want to store the integer with longer values, you have to use long int or long.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, others, have you all completed? Okay, good, Syed. Okay, so now we have to convert the same thing to a like in a function. So if it is in a function, what you'll do? Let me just give it in a function as fact of int n value, and here I'm giving as int f is equal to 1, and for of int I is equal to 1 to I should be less than or equal to n and I plus plus, and in the f I need to store. So in f is equal to f into I value, and at last you can just return this f value. And here I have to give it as int n is equal to 5, and I'm giving a print statement as percentile d comma fact of 5. So what would be the output actually? It's 120, right? Now I have to convert this to a recursion. So recursion in the sense of calling a function inside a function. So we all know that I have to keep multiplying. So let's say if I'm taking the value as 5, I have to keep multiplying till 1, right? So first time, let's say I'm taking 5. So next value would be, I have to take it as 4. Next would be 3, and then 2, and then till 1 I have to do this. So
Ma'am, we can also stop at 2.
yes, you can stop at 2 also. If it is stopping at 2, then how about 1? So you need to write a separate condition for 1 also. Okay. If the given value is, let's say it's 0. So what is the value of 0 factorial? 0
1.
factorial is 1, and 1 factorial is also 1.
1.
So you need to give these things as a base condition, because that is what I'm going to stop it. So base condition is to stop.
Yes, ma'am. Here we can take a base condition is equal to 2.
Then how about 0 and 1? If the user gives the input as 1 or 0, so you need to write three base condition. That is also fine. Okay,
Okay.
so what I have to do is, first base condition is if the n value is equal to 0, or if the n value is equal to 1. What has to be written?
1.
Oh, yes, 1. Similarly, I'm giving if n value is equal to 2. I can just give it as return 2 also. Okay, the remaining things has to be kept in the recursion, right? So how to do this recursion part? That is, I'm giving as return n into fact of n minus 1. Okay, I'll tell you how this works as well. Okay, I hope now my writings are visible, right?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, so let's say I'm giving the function call as f of 5. Okay, so what this will do, it will check whether 5 is equal to 0, no. Whether 5 is equal to 1, no again. So what it has to do, it has to check with the other condition, whether 5 is equal to 2, no again. So this would be done. That is 5 into function of, what is 5 minus 1, which is 4.
4.
So can you see here, this fact is the function. Inside the function, I'm calling the function again. This is said to be the recursion. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now function of 5. Sorry, function of 4. So what would happen here? N is equal to 0 and n is equal to, like 4 is equal to 0. Is it? No. Whether 4
No.
equal to 1? No,
No.
again. Whether 4 equal to 2? No again. So what I have to do?
No.
I have to do 4 into function of 3.
3.
So again for function of 3, 3 into
3
function
into
of,
function of 2.
2.
yes, for function of 2,
2 into
2
function.
into function of 1.
can you see this condition? I have given one more condition, right?
Return to 2.
So I'll get the straight answer as 2. If you are not giving this 13 and 14th line, then there comes one more line as
Okay, ma'am.
2 into function of 1. So then what will happen? For this function of 1, it will return the value as 1. So what is this value? 2 into 1 is 2. So that is the value we have got for function of 2. Okay. So now this 2 has to be multiplied with 3. So 3 2s are 6. So this is the value we have got for function of 3. Now what I have to do?
Multiply
This,
4 into 6.
yes, which means I'll get it as 24. So
24.
this 24 is the value of function of 4. Now 24 into 5,
120.
120.
which is the value of function of 5. So it will, at last I'll get the value as 120. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So for this, it uses the stack memory. So do you all know stack memory, heap memory?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So stack
No,
in the
ma'am.
sense of, let's say, first, what is the function I have called? Function of 5 is called. Right? Did I get any value for that in the first place? No. So to get that value, what I have to do? I have to call function of 4 then. So after that, what happened, ma? So to get the value of function of 4, I have to do the function of 3. Isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So similarly, to get the function of 3, I have to do function of 2.
Function
So
of
to
2.
get the value of function of 2, I need to do function of 1. So after getting the value, I'm just inserting it before, right? Whatever the value I have got, like let's say it's 2. So after this one, I have got it as 6. So after this, I have just taken here to 24. So by this way, I'm just taking, initially I'm using the stack. So stack, how that works is it takes the principle of whatever I'm giving at first. So whatever is inserted first will be taken out at last. Okay, it is said to be last in is first out. Because the function of 1 is called first. But which got the answer first?
The top one.
The same function of 1, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's why we'll say lost in first out. So the stack follows, it's like arranging the books, or you can say how arranging the bangles or arranging the plates one above another. So once the plate which is kept at last will be taken first, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
it is similar to that. So that is how, so here this recursion also uses the stack memory. Okay, because the function of 5 is not answered, but before that function of 4 is called. To answer function of 4, we need to call function of 3. So it goes on until some base condition is satisfied. So this function, this if n is equal to 0 or 1, this is said to be the base condition. Okay,
Uh,
is this clear?
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, one
Yes,
more
ma'am.
doubt.
Yes, what is?
We can also do the same process with a for loop also. Uh, then,
Yes.
why- then why we use recursion?
Okay, so let's say if it makes the code easier, that is one way, and the other thing is, let's say which whatever the problems which cannot be like, let's say the iteration you'll not be able to understand something like that, then in that cases you can use this recursion. But actually recursion and this iterations both will do the same process only. Okay, and in some cases you don't know how many times it will work, so in those cases also you can use this recursions. When you are moving to the higher level programs, you'll get the better usage of this recursion.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, at that time, instead of iteration, let's say a function inside a function. So this keeps going until some base condition is reached, which cannot be done using the iterations actually. Okay, when you are learning some DSA programs and all, you'll get a better idea why we are using recursion there instead of iterations.
Okay, ma'am.
Is these things clear, people?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So one is of direct recursion and the next type is of a indirect recursion. Direct recursion is which I have did, right? Like inside the function, I have called the another function, I mean like the same function straight away. Indirect in the sense of, I'll take this example here. So what is given here, ma? What is the num value?
0.
No, what is the num value given? Num value is 5, right?
5.
Yes.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
So, and then what is the function called? Even of num, right?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Can you all see here?
Uh,
What is the
yes,
function called? Even of 5 is called. Okay. So, it will just go to this function. So, what is given here? Is 5 is equal to 0?
No, ma'am.
So, what it will call? It will call odd of 5 minus 1. What is 5 minus 1?
4.
4.
4. Okay. So, in 4, it will go to this order function. What is given in order function? Is 4 is equal to 0?
No, ma'am.
So,
No.
what it will call? It will call as even of 4 minus 1, nothing but 3.
3.
Again, for 3, what is the value? Is 3 equal to 0? No. So, it will call
No.
odd of 2. So, again, is 2 equal to 0? No. It will call as even of,
1.
again, is n equal to 0? No. So, it has to call as odd of 0.
0.
Is 0
0.
equal to 0?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So, what value it will return?
Or
0.
0.
So this returned value will be taken to the previous step. Again 0 is returned. Again 0 is returned. Again a 0. Again a 0. Again a 0. So at last what is the value?
5.
How it's 5? It's 0, right?
No, sorry. 0, 0.
Okay. So in condition checking part, if it is 0, what does it mean? It is equal
Condition.
to if of 0. If of 0 is means what? Is the if block will work?
No,
No.
ma'am.
Exactly. So it's not even. So the answer will be odd. So 5 is
Odd.
odd, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So the same thing. Okay. And here, this is actually like a recursion, right? So even is called multiple times. It's like a function inside a function. But instead of calling its function, it's calling another function. In another function, again, we are calling the first function. So this is said to be the indirect recursion. Okay, this also runs like again and again until some condition is failed, but it's not a direct one. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Everyone?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now moving to one more thing, that is here we have three things, that is global scope, local scope, and block scope. Block scope in the sense of people, do you want me to share this factorial program or you know this?
I know, ma'am.
Okay. For others?
Yes, ma'am, I know.
All right. Okay, people, then fine. So here, let's say here I'm giving us for of int I is equal to 0, I should be less than or equal to n and I plus plus. And then I'm giving the print statement as print of I. That's it. Now, will I be able to use this I after this one? After this for loop, will I be able to use this I
No,
value?
ma'am. No.
So because it is initialized, it is initialized and declared only for this looping, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So that is why this is said to be the block scope, which means it is only accessible only within the for block, not outside this block. Do you remember when we
Yeah.
are discussing the looping we have discussed, right? It is like it is accessible only within that for loop. We cannot be able to access it outside it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So that is said to be the block scope.
Then we use the while loop. Then I declare out of the while. We can accessible anywhere.
Yes. Then we can be able to access it outside it as well. Okay. Do you have any doubts so far, people, in the topics that we have discussed?
No.
Then
ma'am.
going ahead with this practice assignment, people, in the following C code, what is the scope of the variable A that is declared inside the if block? So is it global? Is the A is global?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Why it is no?
Because
Because it is
global.
not declared outside the function.
Yes, it's not declared outside the main function or any of the functions. So it's not global. Is it local to main function?
No, ma'am.
Yes.
Why it
No,
is?
ma'am.
It is because it is declared inside the if.
If.
Yes, which means it's
Interval.
accessible only within the if block. So its answer will be local to the if block. Yeah. And what will be the output of this following C code? Int x is equal to 5, int x is equal to 10, x plus plus, and they are trying to print the x value.
Uh, Ma'am, 10.
How it
X,
is 10?
X will be
No, ma'am.
5.
Wait. 5, ma'am.
5.
Actually, 5. Yeah.
Why it is 5?
Because
Because x variable declare
declare
inside
equal
the
to 5.
curly braces.
Yes.
So
Okay. So this x is only accessible within this particular block. This is a separate block. It can be accessible only within this. So here x is equal to 10 and x is incremented to 11. If the print statement is within this block, then the x value would be this 11. But this print statement is outside the block. So which means only this 5 gets printed.
Yes.
Is that clear, people?
yeah.
And
Ma'am.
yes. Any doubt, people?
No, ma'am.
All right.
No, ma'am.
So next is, in a recursive function, what is the base case? What is the option?
Ma'am, the case where the function exits without further recursion.
Okay, good attempt. Let's wait for others to answer. People, you can give in chat box also. Either it is option A, B, C, whatever it is. Okay, good. I could see response from only 2. Okay. Yes, people. The answer is option C. Why it is option C? So let's say if it is a recursive function in the sense of that calls the function again and again. So the case where the function calls itself repeatedly is said to be a recursion. Okay. So the initial case where the recursive function is called for the first time from the program, which means it's a function call. And a base case in the sense of that is to stop the recursion, which means it exits without further recursion. Okay. And what is the main advantage of using the recursion in C? Actually, it simplifies the code and makes it easier to understand. That is the advantage of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this is the next question, people, that we have to write a function which takes two inputs from the user and we need to add it and we have to print it. So which of the function definition is correct? Either option A, B, or C, or D.
And first A.
A, okay.
Yes, ma'am. A.
D is
And
also correct.
D, ma'am. A and
D
D.
is also, ma'am.
Yes, perfect, people. Why it is A and D?
Because first in we add the A and B and store into C and we return the C. And second option D, we add the A and B and return the value of addition A and B.
Yes, it's perfect, people. It's nothing but yeah, actually two options, A and D both. Okay, so here first option is, as he mentioned, it's like we are storing in a variable and we are returning it. Here we are straight away returning this value. Okay, yeah, and what will be the output of the above code? A is 10, B is equal to 20, and they have given sum of A comma B, and then they have given the function definition part.
And 30.
Yes, option
Option A.
A. Okay, good attempt. Let's wait for others to answer. C, A, okay. Okay, I could see people saying C. What? Why it is C? Aryan and Syed. Okay, I think Abu is also saying option C. Why it is option C, Abu?
Can you show question again?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
ma'am. The main function calls the sum function before the sum function has been defined.
Yes. There is no function definition. I mean,
Yeah.
like at least the declaration has to be there. Even the function declaration is not there before the function call. Okay, the sum of A comma B is a function call which has to come after the function definition definition at least. Sorry, declaration at least. If the declaration has to be the minimum requirement, but that is also not there. So here it will give the answer C as compiler error.
Ma'am, I thought prototype
Yes.
I declare already.
Okay. So actually there has to be that thing, no, like function definition, sorry, declaration part. Only after declaration you can call, and then lately you can give the definition part.
But ma'am, when we declare the prototype of the function, when we call any order.
Yes. After that, after calling also, you can just do the definition part.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is declaration thing. Okay. Yeah, and here which of the following options are correct to make a function declaration only, which means without function definition, only function declaration is going to be done. So which of the options are correct? Yes, B and C. Okay. B. Good.
B and C.
Okay. All right. So next is the execution of a C program starts with which function?
Main function.
Main function. Yes, excellent people.
Main function, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Super. Yeah. And here below is the C programming in which order the function is executed at first. Either the printf or add5 function, which is called first.
Add 5.
Yes. So add5 is called in the sense of there is two options. So after add_5, either print is called or inc function is called.
Print function.
Yes, people. So first add_5 function is called. There the value, whatever the a value is there, 5 has to be added to it. After that, either print function is called or inc function is called.
INC function, ma'am.
Print.
Actually, how this works is
Print
first
function.
this add_ function is called. After that, what has to be done? Whatever the value computed, which has to be printed, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
So after add5, print function will be called. Then only this inc function, which means 5 plus 1, 6 is done. Then this print function is called. Okay, and then this main gets stopped. Okay. Is this clear? So the answer will be option B, not option D. Is it clear, people, to everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Yes, ma'am.
And here is this next question. So consider the below C programming. And here a function is given with the name add of, and three parameters are given, and z is equal to x plus y. So here they have given int x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 2, and z is just declared. It's not initialized. And then add is equal to x comma y comma z is given, print of z. So
Ma'am,
what will
it
be the output
show
of this code?
garbage value
Why it is garbage value?
Yes, ma'am. Code is
because Z is not declared.
ma'am, because
Initialized. Sorry, Z is not initialized.
Yes. If the z is not initialized,
ma'am,
it will just
code.
take some garbage value. Okay. So the random value that has uninitialized variable has initialized. And here, so consider the following C programming. Void function 1. So there they have given the print from function 1, and then void function 2, and then void function 3, and then the main method. So they have called function 3 first. So what will be the output of this code? Do you want some time to try, or
Function 3 is
yes?
ma'am starts from function
Ma'am, I think
and then after
three
1
two
and
no,
then after
three
it
one
goes
two.
to
I think.
function 2 and after to 1.
Repeat, your voice is
Option is
breaking actually.
ma'am it starts from function 3 because under the main function first function 3. So the execution starts from function 3 and then after it goes to function 1. And it also goes to function 2 and next after at last it goes to function 1 also.
Yes, perfect. So actually, people, do you all understand how this works? So initially, function of 3 is called. In function of 3, what is given actually? First is the print statement. Okay, which means function 3 gets printed. After that, what is given? Function 1 is given, which means it will not go to the second line. It will go to the first function of 1. In function of 1, what is given? There is just a print statement. That print function worked. After that, is there any other function to be executed after this? No. Once this function 1 is stopped, then it comes to the function 2. Okay. In function 2, what is given?
A printf for function 2,
Yes.
then
First
after
is the
it
print,
goes to function 1.
and then it calls the function 1. So again, in function 1, what is given? The print is given. Okay, so how this works? Here it prints 3, here it prints 1, then 2, then 1. So this is the order as well. So we have to check, okay, function 3 is here. Next has to be function 1, function 2, function 1. So this would be the correct option.
Option B, ma'am.
Yes. Did you all understand this 11th question? Why it's option
Yes.
B? Everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Now going ahead with the 12th one. Okay, can you all tell me what is the output of this?
Ma'am, it requires some time.
Yeah, please take your time. I'm just giving you 5 minutes of time. Try completing the and tell me the answer, please.
Ma'am, first 2100.
Okay, good attempt. Devotri, the link is pinned. You can check. Yes, thanks, Ankit. Okay, others start giving the answers, ma. What is the answer for this? Yes, good, Sayed. Good attempt. Let's wait for others to answer. Good attempt, Ashok. Others, I'm just giving you further 2 more minutes. Try giving the answers. Okay, Sharia. Yeah, it's correct. Others, do you want some more time, or shall we go ahead with the discussion part? Akhil, let's wait for him to complete. For others, people, if you think we can go with the discussion part, just give the thumbs up symbol so that I'll get to know how many people have completed. Okay, I think around 10 people have completed, it seems. Kana, you just try. Along with that, let me also explain it. Okay. So what is given here, people? So first is the function of 2 is given, right? Yes. So first is function of 2 is called. So inside which, what has to be printed first? 2 has to be printed. So in print, 2 gets printed. Then it will check with the condition. That is 2 is equal to 0? Is 2 is not equal to 0? Yes, the condition is true. So after that, what has to be done? It will check with the one more condition, that is whether 2 equal to 1. Is 2 equal to 1? No. So it will go ahead with the next else. In the else part, function of what is given? 2 minus 1. What is 2 minus 1? That is function of 1 is called. So in function of 1 also, what it will do first? First has to be the print statement. That is 1 gets printed. Then it is given whether it will check with the condition is 1 is not equal to 0. Yes, the condition is true. So it has to check whether 1 equal to 1.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So what has to be done within this?
Yes, ma'am.
So if 1 equal to 1, we have to do as function of 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 is 0.
0.
So now the
0.
function of 0 is called. So inside the function of 0, what has to be done? First, the print statement of 0, right? Then is 0 is
Yes,
not
ma'am.
equal to 0? No. So this whole if condition will not work, which means the function stops. Okay. Then what happens? So there is no other steps to be done in this function part. So what I have to do is I have to go ahead with the next step. That is function of what is given. What is 2 minus 2?
1.
0.
2
0.
minus 2, 0.
0.
Yes. So what is given inside this? If it is 0, just print the 0. That's it. So what is the value we have got?
0.
2, 1, 0, 1, 0. Which is nothing
1,
but,
0, 0.
yes, which is nothing but option A. Is this clear to you all? Everyone?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Huh, great people. So now
Yes, ma'am.
going
Clear.
ahead with the next question. So it is similar to the previous one, but only print statement's position changes. Okay. So tell me what is the output of this? I'll just give you 5 minutes of time for this, people. Just tell me it.
Ma'am, option C.
Yes, good attempt. Let's wait for others to answer as well.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, good. Others? Have you all completed, ma? Okay. Can anyone explain this? Why it is option C? Or can I explain it, people? Any volunteers? Am I audible to you all?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay, I'll explain then, people. Okay. So the thing is, first what is called as function of 2 is called. So it will check whether 2 is not equal to 0. So that is the first option, right? So first it will call whether 2 is not equal to 0. Is the condition is true? Yes.
Yes.
Inside which it will call whether 2 is equal to 1. No. So it will go ahead with the else part. In else part, what is given more? Function of what is given here?
N minus 1.
N
N
minus
minus 1.
Yeah, which is nothing but function of 1 is called. So again it will check whether,
1.
yes, whether 1 is not equal to 0. Yes, the condition is true. Inside which it
True.
will check
Yes.
whether 1 is equal to 1. Yes.
Yes.
So what has to be called? Function of 0 has to be
0.
called. So in this case, is 0 not equal to 0?
No.
wrong.
So this if
No.
condition failed in the sense of the whole block will stop, what will get printed first?
0.
0 gets printed.
0.
Is there any other steps to be done here? No. So it will go to this step. Okay, so now it comes to this function of 1. After function of 1, is there any other steps to be done? No. So here it will execute this print function of 1. So after 0, it's 1. After, so already only one option is there. So this can be the correct, but still we can check. Okay, so after this, what has to be called? Do you remember here after function of 1, there is one more else part, that is function of 0. Do you all remember this function? Okay,
Yes.
so for function of 0, what has to be done? We have to just give the print of 0. Okay, so this is called first, this is second, and now this is the third part. So 0, 1, 0. So at last, is there any other functions to be done? Any recursion is to be called or something? No. So at last, it will come to this last print statement of 2. Is it clear to you all?
Ma'am, could you please explain second one again?
Yeah, sure. So actually here for function of 1, this is done, which is function of 0 is called. For function of 0, the whole if is false, so 0 gets printed. After that, this if stops. This 1 gets printed. Actually, it's not like else. Though the condition in if is true or false, irrespective of that, this print statement has to work. So that's how the 1 gets printed. Okay. So after that, it will come to this step, that is function of 0 step. So print statement gets worked. After that, the function of 2 is called, right? The whole if is done. Then the 2 gets printed. Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone?
Ma'am,
Yes,
how
ma'am.
to is
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Okay, so how 2 is printed is, so first what is the condition we have given? 2 is not equal to 0. For that we have checked the condition. All the recursion is done for that, which means at last, once the if condition, everything is over, then it will come to this print statement. That is 2 gets printed. Is it clear now?
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's why the option is C here. And next is option 14th question. So how this will work, people? Do you want to try or shall we discuss it together?
Ma'am, I won't try.
Okay, others, do you want to try or shall we discuss it as such?
No, ma'am. Try. I will try. Give me 2 minutes.
Let us try.
Okay, good.
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
just give you
Let's
further
try.
5 more minutes, people. Give it a try and start giving the answers in chat box.
Ma'am, can you show question?
Yes, ma, that is I'm displaying here.
Ma'am, C.
Okay. Why it is C
Option C.
and okay. Why it is C and why it is D?
Ma'am, this function call like as a recursive function.
Okay.
The value of 4 when equal to 0, this function will be stopped.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that
when
will be the value which is returned initially, like that you're saying, right?
yeah.
Okay, good attempt. Still you have 2 more minutes to try, people. People, have you all tried? Okay. So shall we discuss the solution then?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what happens here is first it will just check with function of 4. Okay, so what is given in function of 4? If 4 is not equal to 0, the function has to be called again with 3.
F3.
So again, 3 is not equal to 0. So for which I have to call function of 2.
F2.
So again, for function of 3 not equal to 0, I have to call,
F1.
yeah, 2 is not equal to 0. So function of 1 gets called. Then for which 1 is not equal to 0,
Then it goes to F0.
yes, it has to call function of 0. So is 0 not equal to 0? No. So it will return the value as 0 here. So for which I'll get the values as return 0. So 0 gets printed first. So next time when the function of 1 is called, what has to be written? The same 1 has to be written. So that way 1 gets written for this function 2, and here it is 3. And for our class function of 4, I think for function of 4 it gets stopped. Okay, because there we are calling only function of 3, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So here the answer will be 0, 1, 2, 3. And here is the last question. So what is the correct definition of the scan underscore print if it should read 5 inputs and print them in the same order? In these cases, can you see we are printing it in the reversal order and all, but here we have to print it in the same order, which means if it is 5, next if I'm giving 4, or similarly whatever the value I'm getting it, I have to print it then and there. So what can be the option, people? Okay, first let's check with the if conditions, because that is the very starting condition, right? People, do you want to try this?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, I'll write then, people. Let's try this. I'll just give you further 5 more minutes, ma. Try it and tell me.
Ma'am, I am not sure, but I think C.
Yes, good attempt, both of you. Let's wait for further 2 more minutes for others' answer. Is everyone, have you all tried?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, as I mentioned, we can just check with the if conditions first. So what is the value we are reading as? Like they have given the function with 5, which means it has
5.
to go till 0, which
Yes,
means
ma'am.
5
For
should be greater than or equal to 0. Similarly, 4 should be greater than or equal to 0. 3 should be, and 2 should be greater than 0. 1,
Greater than equal to 0.
when it is equal to 0, it should stop because it's not greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so we have to check here. The first condition can be the possibility, and here 1 is less than 0. This cannot be the answer. I is greater than 0. Yeah, this can be the possibility. And
4
here
is
it
not a
is not
possibility.
possibility. So the possible options are 1 and 1 and C. So in this also I have to print in the same order. Here it gets scanned, but it is going to the next iteration. Is it possible then to print in the same order? No.
No, ma'am.
But here it is getting it, printing it, and then it is
No,
going on
ma'am.
the next option. So the answer can be option C. Is that clear, people?
Yes, ma'am. It's clear.
Everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's check the answers now. Yeah, all the answers are correct actually. Okay, do you have any doubts so far, people, in programming assessments and the full revision concepts and all? It is available, ma. You can check it, or you can check your calendar. In calendar, they would have updated with the link. Similarly, you can check in calendar as well. Last week, right? See, this is updated, in which you can check. Others, any doubts?
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, please. Esma, what is your doubt, Ashok?
Ma'am, wait a few minutes.
Okay.
Ma'am, what would be the syllabus of upcoming OPP exam?
It would be given in the grading one. You can check the grading document. There would have, there it is clearly mentioned like what are the weeks are in like included in that syllabus. Others, if you have no doubts, you can leave now. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Ma'am, I have a doubt. If
Yeah,
we
yeah,
have
I'm
a
here.
yeah, if we have a 64-bit computer, you can say processor, and we give the value of 128-bit calculation. We give the 128-bit calculation. It able to perform or not?
I didn't understand your question actually. Could you please repeat your question?
Yeah, okay. Let's take we have a 64-bit processor or
Okay.
computer, you can say.
Hmm.
And we give the calculation, and its calculation is 128-bit.
Okay.
Then it will be perform or not?
Um, it is little in depth, right? You can just
Because ma'am, I because my computer is 64-bit, and
okay.
yeah, and I searched the value of 128-bit on my
Mhm.
Google, and copy this value and
Okay.
write a C program, and
Okay.
do the addition of this 128-bit value, and
Mm.
it will give me answer.
But maybe it would have did it like instead of doing it directly, it would have limited its size to 64 bits, and then it would have manipulated it.
But ma'am, when how microprocessor manage the carry?
Regarding these things, we need to ask concerned subject people like computer architecture, right?
Yeah, because
Uh, so,
microprocessor have only 64-bit.
okay, you can ask in that subject. No, that's a better idea.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. If you have any other doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, we can end the session, people. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, people.
Thank you, ma'am.